Currently, Earth. On July 6, in 1775, one day after restating their fidelity to King George III and wishing him to a long and prosperous reign, in the Olive Branch Petition, Congress sets forth the causes and necessity of their taking up arms against British authority in the American colonies. The Declaration also proclaimed their preference, quote, to die free men rather than live as slaves, unquote. As in the Olive Branch Petition, Congress never impugned the motives of the British king. Instead, they protested, quote, the large strides of late taken by the legislature of Great Britain towards establishing over these colonies their absolute rule, unquote. Congress provided a history of colonial relations in which the king served as the sole governmental connection between the mother country and colonies until, in their eyes, the victory against France in the 7 Years' War caused Britain's, quote, new ministry finding all the foes of Britain subdued, unquote, to fall upon, quote, the fortunate idea of subduing her friends also, unquote. According to the Declaration, the king's role remained constant, but, quote, Parliament then for the first time assumed power of unbounded legislation over the colonies of America, unquote, which resulted in the bloodletting at Lexington and Concord in April of 1775. At this point, Congress assumed that if the king could merely be made to understand what Parliament and his ministers had done, he would rectify the situation and return the colonists to their rightful place as fully equal members of the British Empire. When the king sided with Parliament, however, Congress moved beyond a declaration of arms to a declaration of independence. On July 6, in 1957, Althea Gibson claims the women's single tennis title at Wimbledon and becomes the first Black American to win a championship at London's All England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club. Althea Gibson was born on August 25th in 1927 in Silver, South Carolina, and raised in the Harlem section of New York City. She began playing tennis as a teenager and went on to win the National Black Women's Championship twice. At a time when tennis was largely segregated, four-time U.S. Nationals winner Alice Marble advocated on Gibson's behalf, and the 5'11" player was invited to make her United States National Championships debut in 1950. In 1956, Gibson's tennis career took off and she won the singles title at the French Championships, the first Black American to do so, as well as the doubles title there. In July 1957, Gibson won Wimbledon, defeating Darlene Hard 6-3, 6-2. In September 1957, she won the U.S. Open, and the Associated Press named her Female Athlete of the Year in 1957 and 1958. During the 1950s, Gibson won 56 singles and double titles, including 11 major titles. After winning Wimbledon and the U.S. Open again in 1958, Gibson retired from amateur tennis. In 1960, she toured with the Harlem Globetrotters basketball team and played exhibition tennis matches before their games. In 1964, Gibson joined the Ladies Professional Golf Association Tour, the first Black woman to do so. The trailblazing athlete played pro golf until 1971, the same year in which she was voted into the National Lawn Tennis Association Hall of Fame. Althea Gibson also served as New Jersey's Commissioner of Athletics from 1975 to 1985. On September 28th, in 2003, Althea Gibson continued her eternity. Today, we remember her awesome legacy, the ground she broke, and the new pavement she laid. On July 6, in 1976, in Annapolis, Maryland, the United States Naval Academy admits women for the first time in its history with the induction of 81 female midshipmen. In May 1980, Elizabeth Ann Rowe became the first woman member of the class to graduate. 4 years later, Christine Holderide became the first female midshipman to graduate at the top of her class. The U.S. Naval Academy opened in Annapolis in October 1845 with 50 midshipmen students and 7 professors. Known as the Naval School until 1850, the curriculum included mathematics, navigation, gunnery, steam, chemistry, English, natural philosophy, and French. The Naval School officially became the U.S. Naval Academy in 1850, and a new curriculum went into effect requiring midshipmen to study at the academy for 4 years and to train aboard ships each summer, the basic format that remains at the academy to this day. All historic information documented on this audio file can be verified at history.com.